Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to Spinistry Live, Midnight Massacre Edition. I am your gravel party host, Kevin Lee, and hey, guess what tonight's topic is going to be? It will be this year's version of the Midnight Massacre. Yes, we are doing the Midnight Massacre this year, and yes, it will be different from years past. We'll give a quick overview of that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about this year's version of the Midnight Massacre and what it's going to look like and how it's going to work. Here's kind of the step-by-steps we're going to go through. We're going to talk about it being a partner benefit. I'll explain shortly exactly what that means. The Midnight Massacre sign-up process does include camping and a bottle of wine. We'll go over those details. Yes, I know people will have questions about guests. We'll talk about that. Spinistry Safe Start. I know people are going to ask about racing or timing or what. We'll address some of those things. Not all, we don't have everything completely hammered out. So we've got time for you guys to give us some feedback, and if we need to make adjustments, we can. We're going to be doing this August 1st, Saturday night, August 1st, which has been our original date that we've always had on the schedule for this year. We're sticking to that date, but the event is modified. We'll go over the current course layout, how resupply and markings and everything work. This is a Club Spinistry members benefit. This is not a general public ride. This is going to be limited spots. Going back to Spinistry Safe Start and things like that, we'll talk about that. There is going to be a gourmet meal option in association with one of our partners. And there's also the potential for a motorized option if people are interested in that. I'm definitely wanting to get some feedback from you guys on if that's something that might interest you and how we can maybe make that happen. The main focus of doing this event is not generating revenue for Spinistry at all. Okay, we're wanting to help out our partners. One of our key partners is Insurance for Texans. Ron and Brad, they've been fantastic supporters of ours, so we want to give them a quick mention. We're going to be rolling out some really cool stuff that's very specific to Insurance for Texans in the very near future. But the main partner that we're wanting to really help out with this particular event is going to be for our Ranch Vineyards and Winery. Most of y'all have been on their property with events with us in the past. If you haven't been there yet, they have an amazing property, fantastic wines, but they're in one of those businesses that has been tremendously impacted by closures and shutdowns and guidelines and regulations and everything like that. We've never had an actual dedicated night ride in those Munster area roads. So we think this is going to be something really, really cool, something really dramatic, and amazingly fun. Club Spinistry members, what you get for your sign-up fee, and every bit of this goes to 4R, $35, get you a bottle of their wine. I'm not a wine connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination, but everything I've ever had from theirs has just been amazing. For your $35, you're getting a good bottle of wine. You also have the opportunity to camp on their property. It's an amazing property. We'll go into a little bit more detail on what those camping options may look like. And we're going to give you a fantastic route to ride. And there's going to be some other things thrown into the mix as well. There's a brand new mountain bike trail on their property. You guys are welcome to check that out for the weekend. And you can make a weekend of this. You don't necessarily just have to drive up and ride that night and go home, or camp that night and go home the next morning. You could potentially stay the whole weekend, and we'll give people, if they want other roads to travel on on Sunday or something like that, we can come up with some alternate routes for folks as well. What you get with that registration is, particularly if you're camping, you can bring a guest with you, and they're welcome to stay on site and camp with you. That's no additional charge or anything like that. If it's a non-riding partner, they just won't get their own bottle of wine. If you have somebody that's going to camp with you and they want their own bottle of wine, just go ahead and have them sign up. That's perfectly fine. But if they don't need their own bottle of wine and they're just going to be camping with you and hanging out for the weekend, you're welcome to bring a camping guest. Now, what does the camping look like? I know people are going to ask that. Camping options. Actually, let's So let's look at some more pictures of their property. I mean, this up here, this is the tasting room that we traditionally finish at. We're going to be staging in a different area than we usually have. Again, in relationship to the COVID-19. Currently, their tasting room is not open for state guidelines for, group gatherings and things like that. Essentially, what they'll do is they'll do on-site wine delivery on the property to your camping site and deliver your bottle to you. Obviously, you can take it home or whatever else is appropriate. We're going to be using more of their property than we have in the past, which I'm really excited about. It's just an amazing property altogether. You'll have a choice of tent camping, no hookups or anything like that, but they do have showers and restrooms on site. Very nice warm showers. Those are available to everybody. You can do trailer camping as well, or RV camping, but those will be without hookups. So think of dry camping or boondocking or whatever you're doing. That's what's included for Saturday night camping. If you want to come up on Friday night, you can camp as well Friday night, but you'll have to make a specific camping reservation. When we get everything done, I'll include the link to their hip camp if you want to make a camping reservation for Friday night. I do believe they have a couple of trailer hookups available with their regular hip camp camping. That will not be part of the included camping for Saturday night. So you can car camp, you can tent camp, you can hammock camp. We'll have several different areas of the property that are able to be utilized for that. We're picking out a pretty primo spot where we can get campers and trailers set up. Spinistry Safe Start. This will be a Spinistry Safe Start event. What we mean by that is we're going to maintain social distancing requirements and guidelines and everything like that. There will not be a big mass start group ride to this. There's not going to be a big group to begin with. We're going to have very limited attendance to help maintain those safety guidelines. And we've been doing some of these smaller club rides with the Spinistry Safe Start where people are, starting in small groups in 15-minute increments. Right now, we're thinking we're not going to do a timed option, but I want to hear your feedback on this. We could potentially do like a couple of small racing groups sort of thing, maybe limited to 10 to 15 people in each group, and start two groups together specifically that are trying to race for a distance or something like that. Here's the deal on doing the timed option. There's additional resources that are needed for that. Like I said, the way we have this set up right now, there's no Spinistry funds being generated from this event. We're taking care of 4R. And if y'all want to have some sort of timed option, we have a donation tab available on the sign up page. If you do the donation option, basically that'll be Foster's money. We'll bring Foster up for the weekend as well. But that's something we would need to have covered, and we'd like to bring him up one way or another anyway. So obviously the more donations that get thrown in there, we can get creative on a timing option and maybe a race option. This is meant as a benefit to Club Spinistry riders. This is not meant to be a Club Spinistry recruitment tool. We don't have enough slots even for all the Club Spinistry members that are already members. So it's, we actually have some other things that we'll be talking about shortly that would be more conducive to, I guess, what we would call Club Spinistry recruitment. That's not what the intention of the Midnight Massacre is. This is, we're taking care of you guys. We appreciate your support. We're limiting at the moment to 100 people for the weekend, again, to help maintain safety guidelines and sanity. I do expect those 100 spots to sell out between now and August 1st. Hypothetically, if they sell out in the next couple of days, that gives us a week to maybe come up with an alternate plan and add another 20 to 50 spots, maybe. I don't have that expectation. We're building this with the idea of it being 100 people coming up for that. So let's go ahead and do the course overview. We will be marking course for this one. and we're going to do basically a 50K and a 100K option. And kind of like what we've done with the Red River Riot in the past, everybody does the same 50K as their first loop, comes back to the staging area, and then people that want to do more and get in a 100K, they can go out for a second loop, is the idea. Now, going back to the COVID-19 scenario, there's not truly a hygienic and safe way for us to do water jugs or water tables or resupply on course or anything like that. It's a novel virus. Nobody knows how everything works. We don't know how everything spreads, but it doesn't make sense for 100 people to be putting their sweaty, gloved hands on the same water spigot, refilling their water bottles one after another. That doesn't seem like a very safe environment to us. So we're not going to offer water tables for this course. But that said, again, at 50K, if you're doing the 100K, at the halfway point, you go by your vehicle again, you go by the parking area, you can resupply there. But also on the 50K, if you don't think you can make it for 34 miles with what you carry on your bike, the route does go through St. Joe. There's a store and a Dairy Queen in St. Joe. The route does go through Munster at mile 18. There's a quick store right here. And there's also Fisher's Grocery and some other quick stores in downtown Munster. So if you need to reload on that first 50K loop, there's a couple spots basically at mile 8 and mile 18 where you can do that. And then roughly mile 35, you're back to the staging area for resupply at that point. People that go out for the next 50K, for the total 100K, there won't be any resupply on this second loop. So you do have to, if you go out on that second 50K loop, you do have to be able to carry everything that'll get you through for 35 miles or so. There is also going to be a gourmet meal option. Don't know all the details on that. We'll share those in the next day or two. Have some more meetings with the 4R folks. Basically, they have a new gourmet chef they've brought on, and but with all of the COVID-19 things that came about, that's kind of delayed some of the plans they had along those lines. So they're looking to put together a gourmet meal option for, I think we're like in the neighborhood of $100 for the gourmet meal, the bottle of wine, the camping, probably a little bit more of a VIP type camping area for the gourmet meal. Now, here's the caveat on that. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to have was it a 4-course meal, 7-course? Like I said, I need to sit down with them and get all the details. But it's a true gourmet meal experience. But if you're sitting down Saturday night to have the gourmet meal, you don't want to go out and ride 100K that night. So more than likely, the gourmet meal option would be for folks that want to kind of make a weekend of it, maybe get a ride in Saturday morning, hang out for the day, tour the winery, maybe go out on a mountain bike ride on the new trail, have the gourmet meal Saturday evening, and then go out for another ride Sunday morning, sort of thing. You're not obligated to riding Saturday night. We're going to have the main group, for lack of a better term, even though it's not a mass start. Most people are going to be there to ride at night. There's no doubt about that. But you're welcome to ride the routes whenever you want to, whenever it fits into your schedule that weekend. I'll have the signage up by Friday, so it'll be there all weekend long. And we also are looking at having a motorized or overland option, and that might work well with the gourmet meal. Come up and camp, get their bottle of wine, and do the gourmet meal. But maybe they don't want to ride a bike in August. Come up with your spouse or your partner, and camp. Have the gourmet meal. Take your vehicle out for a drive in that gorgeous area, and we can even come up with maybe a more customized route for people that are driving or anybody that's into dual sport motorcycle riding. This is a fantastic area to do that. We're going to start sharing more details on the International Grand Prix of Gravel presented by Panaracer. We're going to reopen registration on August 1st for this same day as the Midnight Massacre. We're very excited about this. And here's a quick little teaser. I think we have found just an amazing race loop, about 70 miles. Not going to go into much more detail than that, but we're going to build a dedicated race event around that's COVID-19 appropriate. Plenty of camping in this area, so you would want to plan to make a weekend of it. The idea would be Saturday is a time trial day. Everybody goes out and does, 30-second increments, 1-minute increments, not sure yet. But Saturday is a time trial day. And what we could do is do champion age-based awards based on individual time trials on Saturday. And then Sunday, we'll put together group races based on whatever an appropriate group size is at that time. 10 racers, 12 racers, 20 racers. We don't know yet. We'll use individual time trial results to slot people in their appropriate speed group, regardless of age. On Sunday, based on your individual time trial results, you'll be slotted with 10 other riders that rode at your same speed or very close to it. So you should be evenly matched competitors. And obviously the fastest will be the A group. So the people that have a 22-mile-an-hour average, if they're out there, they're in that A group. The 19-mile-an-hour average are in the B group. The 17-mile-an-hour average are the C group, and so forth and so on. Something like that. Now, here's where we're going to turn people's heads upside down. And I know people are going to kick and scream over this, but I think some people are going to think it's pretty cool as well. For the Sunday racing, there's no gender break on that. If you're a 19-mile-an-hour female rider, well, you're a 19-mile-an-hour rider. So you're going to be racing all the other 19-mile-an-hour racers, regardless of gender. So something different there that we're throwing in the mix. 2 days of racing. Yes, you could just come up on Saturday and do your time trial and get your championship age-based time trial. But we think the group racing on Sunday is going to be really, really cool. I'm really excited about the concept. I'm tremendously excited about the race course itself. I wouldn't call it easy, but it's not crushingly difficult. It's got some ups and downs to it. Lots of windy, twisty stuff. Lots of middle of nowhere stuff. There's some rough roads in there. There's some double track. There's some B roads. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind thing. So stay tuned for that. Lone Star Gravel Championships coming later this year. We definitely don't want to do it in 100-degree heat, but we also don't want to do it when it's 20 degrees outside. And it's also a somewhat centralized location. So we think we should be able to interest a lot of people from different areas of the state to kind of congregate in one centralized gravel location for a weekend. More details will be coming on that soon. I'm going to go ahead and check out now.